everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Andrea. Today's video was kind of inspired a little bit by Laura Force. She just posted a video where she organized all of her singles, but in that video she also made a little custom palette focused around her Pan Those eyeshadow shades, specifically the singles that she has in her project. And I thought that was a really cool idea. So Laura, I hope you don't mind that I'm borrowing that, but I wanted to make this video quick. So I already pre-made my little custom palette, but I'll show you the palette and the swatches of the shades that I picked. Even though it's the middle of the month and it's almost time to hopefully draw some new shades, I thought for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, I could still get some use out of this little palette and use some more of my singles that I've been neglecting in favor of trying to do a look with like all of my Pan Those eyeshadows together, which doesn't always work out, or I don't have a lot of variations because if you'll remember, I got a lot of like green and blue colors, so there's just a lot of very similar tones, so I wanted to break it up a little bit. And if you hear background noise, that is just my neighbor hired a company to power wash his driveway, and they've been at it for seriously like 4 hours. So we're all just gonna have to live with it and hope that they finish soon, because yesterday our neighbors behind us had people power washing their new cement that they just poured for their pool. So we just can't escape power washing. It's just, we're all gonna have to suffer through it. You'll suffer through it with me. You'll all have to suffer through it with me. So anyway, as I was saying, I have one of my ColourPop empty magnetic palettes. It's a 12 pan. So because I don't like empty spaces, I had to fill all 12 up. Here is my little custom Pan Those eyeshadows palette. The first shade is, well, the first two shades are from my Pan Those eyeshadows project. So this is the single Moonlight from ColourPop, and I'll do swatches because I like doing swatches. And I hope that I'm in frame. So there's Moonlight from ColourPop. And then the second single in my palette that is part of my Pan Those eyeshadows is the shade Slayfair from ColourPop. And once I go through the palette, I will show you which shades I have on my eyes today, although you'll probably be able to guess. Wow, I am just not. This is gonna be all kinds of messed up, but we're just gonna roll with it. I also did not get something to clean my hands off with, so I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I decided it would be easier if I swatched on this arm so that I could actually see what I was doing and then show it to you. So as I was saying, this first shade is Moonlight. The second shade is Slayfair. They're both ColourPop singles. This next shade is an Ulta single called Dinner Party. I've used this one quite a bit. I haven't been updating it, but it's in my Beauty A to Z project over on Instagram, which I stopped updating, I think in March, because I'm lazy and I wasn't making any progress. So this is also an Ulta single in the shade Plum Pop. This was, or I guess is, I'm technically still working on my Beauty A to Z project. I'm just not really making much progress on it. This is also in my Beauty A to Z. I thought this was going to be easier to show, but it is not. So hopefully this comes out okay. So those are the 4 shades in the first row. Now starting in the next row is I think most of these are ColourPop just because that's the brand of singles I have the most of. But this is from ColourPop. It's Lookin' Fresh. This shade and the Moonlight shade are both from the She's a Rainbow palette. This shade is not swatching the best. It's minty green. This next one is also a ColourPop shade, also in my Beauty A to Z project. This is the shade Neutrino, which part of the reason I put it in this little custom palette is because maybe I will actually use it, since I have never once put it on my eyeballs yet. But there is Neutrino. Next, this is a Makeup Geek shade, obviously one of their old ones, since it's the Circle Pan. This is in Wisteria. Once again, another shade that is in my Beauty A to Z project, which I just picked a lot of these because they had tones that I felt would work, but there's a few shades I picked that are not in that project. Don't worry. Ugh, this does not swatch the best, but it performs much better on the eye. It's like a mid-toned, like kind of pastel-y purple. I don't know. As I've said many times, I don't know how to describe colors. So this is a Colored Rain single in Forbidden. I wanted to have a dark green to go along with all of these lighter purples. And this is, it looks kind of like one of those shades. It's like a dark purpley black base with the green on top. There's definitely some dimension to it. It's not just like a flat dark green. That's another reason why I thought it would go well with this color story. So those four colors are the second row, and then this bottom row, this is obviously just a black. It's called Black Moon. This is also a Colored Rain shadow. I usually am not one to like care about blacks that much, but I thought it would help deepen up some of the looks I get out of this palette, since there are quite a lot of light colors. And then this is also Colored Rain, Flashing Lights. It's a beautiful silver, and if you haven't tried Colored Rain, their metallic formulas are some of the best. The only thing is they can get a little flaky. This is, well, in case you can't see the swatch on my arm very well, there's what it looks like on my finger. Two more shades. This next one is also from Colored Rain. It's called Blue Magic. I originally had Glass Bowl from ColourPop in this palette, but I was looking at it, and even though it has like the purpley, like light purpley pinky green tones in it, it felt kind of off. So I decided I wanted to try a dark blue in its place. And out of my singles, I don't have a ton of really dark blues. So, my gosh, how do people do this? Like, seriously, my arm doesn't twist that way. Do it this way? Can you see? I don't know. And then the last one is I just wanted a little bit of a darker actual purple. Like this Plum Pop purple is more of a brownish purple. I wanted an actual darker purple. So this is Try Me from ColourPop. There's no way I'm gonna be able to bend. Okay, maybe if I go this way. Is that easier? I hope that it's in focus and you can see. So those are all of the swatches. This is pretty much my first ever like curated palette centered around like specific shades. So I might not have done the absolute best at, honestly looking at it, the really Plum Pop is the one that's kind of not fitting in with the rest, but I'm sure I could, there's some shades that I could make it work, and I think it looks pretty cohesive overall. So as far as what I did for my eyes today, because I used exclusively this palette, so I have Moonlight in pretty much all over my crease transition, and then I used Lookin' Fresh, mostly like I layered it on top on the inner transition and put it on the maybe first quarter of my lid. Then I deepened the outside up with the Black Moon, just dotting my brush in and blending just to darken the Moonlight shade up a bit, but I didn't want to go like super smoky. Then I have Flashing Lights all over my lid, and I put a little bit more Black Moon over the corner because it kind of erased. When I put Flashing Lights on, it's so opaque and so shiny. It basically covered up everything that I had done in my outer crease, so I just kind of put a little bit more of the Black Moon on it. And then my lower lash line is Slayfarer with a little bit of the Lookin' Fresh, like just to buff it out a little bit. And then I have Dinner Party in my inner corner. And I finished it off with my Ulta gel liner in Peacock, and then the ColourPop liquid liner in Crazy. I mean, it's CRZY, but so crazy, I guess. It's, if you can see, it's a dark, like, navy blue liquid liner, which I thought would look really nice with the silver and, like, the blues and greens. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Like I said, this was the first time I've ever used this Lookin' Fresh shade, the first time I've ever used this Flashing Lights shade. So I'm excited to work on these two more for my Pan Those eyeshadows, but also to get a little bit more use out of some of my other singles instead of only focusing on only shades for my Pan Those eyeshadows, which is what I tend to do. If you enjoyed this video, let me know, because I'm thinking about making this a monthly video where I show you a little curated palette to go along with the singles portion of my Pan Those eyeshadows. And I can either keep it in this format, or we can do it where we like kind of curate the palette together, or I can mix it up. I don't have to do one specific style every time. But yeah, I hope you found this interesting. Let me know if you like the palette that I created, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!